the Jetson Mountain Style electric bike with 29-inch wheels. It's a really interesting mix of technology and speed and power. These guys are known for their little scooters. It kind of looks like a traditional scooter, right? Where you're on it, there are pedals, but really you kind of bring your feet in, and the pedals only have one speed. Whereas this thing right here, we've got 7 speeds. In this rear cassette, you can see Shimano Tourney TX. Decent stuff. I mean, a little more entry level, but they've done a good job with this nice chain guide on the front. It's just plastic, but it still keeps the chain relatively on track, because there's a little bit more distance here with this very unique frame, and you don't want the chain to fall off when you're going fast. And this bike does go fast. It's a speed pedelec, one of the fastest speed pedelecs that I've tried, probably 30 plus actually, which makes me pause a little bit. Like twist throttle mode, the max speed is 20 miles per hour, and that's sort of traditional. But again, in pedal assist mode level 5, you're really getting up there. It uses 6 magnet cadence sensors there, right there on the bottom bracket, that they do a pretty good job, but it's not quite as immediate as like a torque sensor or something. You don't need to really push very hard in order to activate the pedal assist. So the motor on this is a 500 watt geared design, and the gears mean it can be a little bit smaller and lighter weight, but still have a lot of power. And this thing definitely has good torque and excellent speed as well. It's relatively small in terms of diameter, and you can kind of see there it blends in with the cassette and the rear disc brake. So these are mechanical disc brakes, 160 millimeter rotor, 180 up front. Keep that in mind if you ever need to replace the rotors, that they're different sizes. They use the Tektro standard sort of, mechanical with a wired in cutoff switch. So as soon as you pull that, the motor will shut off. And that's important on a pedelec where there aren't quite as many sensors. See, there could be 12, but they've gone with 6. It's just a little bit sloppier in terms of responsiveness, and that's fine. But a couple of other little gripes I have are, you have to leave the key in when riding in that on position, and that's kind of right where you're pedaling too, so it can kind of get in the way or bounce around if this is hanging on your keychain. And if you're going 30 plus miles per hour, you just don't want to have an incident where that snags on your sock and something bad happens. With that said, we've got the nice SR Suntour fork up here, set up for the 29er. It does not have a lockout. This is kind of mountain, they say, and it's about a 50-pound bike, which is impressive given the 500 watt motor. But let's see here, we got preload adjustments on both. Let's see if it is the XCM from Suntour. The tires that are on it right now are the CST Caballero 29 by 2.5 hat compound, it says. Not sure what that means. Decent Welgo pedals here. These are some of my favorites. Big platform, grippy, so you're not going to slide off if it gets wet outside. You wouldn't necessarily have to swap these out right away to actually feel stable and secure going off-road. Interesting Vader seat, and a nice suspension seat post. It's going to smooth things out at the higher speed. And of course, just the knobbier tires, the bigger tire radius is also going to smooth things out. So I think we've looked at most of the bike. It does have these interesting sort of threaded eyelets right here. I'm not sure if you could add a rack or something. They might have something proprietary, but it doesn't have the traditional mounts for fenders or a rack. Even the battery is very custom. This is not traditional. This is a 48 volt, 17 amp hour, and both of these things come off. There's like 2 battery packs inside, okay? And again, this is like the same drivetrain as the Jetson, 500 watt geared motor, 48 volt, 17 amp hour battery, but this is a 50-pound bike instead of, 125 pound scooter. So, it's very powerful, very powerful. And again, that top speed, I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that it can go so fast. People say you can ride fast as a bicycler, so why not have the electric bike let you go fast? I just, I urge you to be careful out there, especially if you're on loose gravel and you're leaning on the assistance of an electric bike like this. Someone could really go down hard, and that's no fun. So again, we got the Shimano Tourney sort of set up with these big, oversized shifters. Maybe if you had gloves on, it'd be nice, but they're not quite as cool as trigger shifters below. This is sort of low-end stuff. These leather grips, sort of ergonomic, give you a little bit more padding. They match the black of the saddle. And there's the twist throttle right there. So that's another thing, you're riding off-road, even if you're in pedal assist mode, because, by the way, throttle only works in like 0. See, there are bars. No bars right now. that means pedal assist can work. So, or I'm sorry, throttle can work. So let's say you're in pedal assist mode and you accidentally like lose your grip. Like that's just a little bit, it's a little easier to kind of slip around. So keep that in mind if you're riding, especially if you have gloves on. I think maybe it's time to do a test ride. I'm going to start out with the twist throttle only so you can hear what it sounds like. I like the kickstand kind of protruding at the bottom. Just a really unique frame design. Kind of mixed on it myself. I'm just going to go straight away, like climb up this ramp right here, starting from 0. Here we go. No problem. We actually accelerated up to almost 19 miles per hour. Or actually, that's kilometers per hour. So it's not, I guess it's not reaching its full potential, but it's definitely accelerating. Whereas a lot of bikes would just be struggling to make that climb at all. I mean, look how high we are now. We went up this big ramp. You know, that's the power I'm talking about with that 500 watt motor. And then of course there's the pedal assist mode where it'll let you go even faster as long as you're pedaling. So that's the Jetson 29er style mountain bike, their first bicycle style mountain bike versus the scooters. It's kind of a weird frame. I don't love that you can't add traditional accessories as easily. I'm really not a huge fan of this non-locking suspension fork because it's bouncy. You know, you kind of bounce up and down, and at higher speeds it's not perfect. Also just the, you know, Shimano real basic equipment. That said, it's under $2,000 and you get that really high speed electric bike that some people are looking for. The top speed is fun, but it's just like, wow, be careful on this thing. And I think compared to like the Predecotech SS Outlaw or their EX Outlaws that also go, you know, higher speeds, I like the geometry, like the rake on the fork. It's not quite like set up as a bomber. This is also very affordable, like that bike. And with that 48 volt, 17 amp hour battery pack, I mean, that's it's pretty intense. So yeah, for the full write up on this, including specs and pictures, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.